huge competitive threats abroad that we need to face, and that's going to require awesome startups and tech and innovation that comes out of places like Harvard.
Mm-hmm. Let me begin with the sliver of that I disagree with, because I agree with the vast majority of what you said. The sliver that I disagree with is that I think you seem fairly relaxed about what I see as the Trump administration trying to impose its will on these universities in terms of faculty and in terms of curriculum and in terms of saying that there have to be audits of departments in order to basically get the Trump administration off their back.
To follow Title VI law of the Civil Rights Act, yes, there are always these things, and there's always pressure to behave and protect your students in a certain way and not create hostile environments for people based on race, sex, or class, which Harvard has facilitated.
Well, there are indeed those regulations, but a lot of the Trump demands are cast in far broader language than that. And that's why we're seeing, for example, free speech organizations like FIRE, which to my mind, sort of has positioned itself slightly to the right of
like
the
FIRE.
ACLU, yeah, talking about the chilling or alarming effects of some of these demands. You know, for
don't
example,
trigger me with that word.
Yeah, I know. I said as soon as it was out of my mouth, I was like, oh, that's the word he doesn't like. But the point about that FIRE was concentrating on was that in this most recent letter to Harvard, there's this demand that Harvard should provide to the government audio or visual recordings of protests, not illegal protests, not illegal activities, protests in which students on non-immigrant visas participated. I think there are genuine reasons to be concerned about that. To get back to the point that we agree on, I think that you make an excellent argument that this is self-defeating. Wherever one comes down on the ideological wisdom of it or the heavy hand or light hand of the Trump administration, the point is that this is discouraging gifted international students from attending the oldest and one of the premier learning institutions in this country, much as the Trump administration has ripped away funding for research at the very same institution. Those kinds of moves, I think, have a massive blowback negative effect. And just finally on the point about, why are we educating foreign students versus native-born students? Foreign students overwhelmingly pay full price for tuition.
Yeah.
The money that comes from them is often used to subsidize American students from lower or more modest income backgrounds getting reduced fees.
And folks, this is all true. This is exactly as he's laying it out. And I think the thing here that's kind of shocking when you think about the debates that's been had within the Trump administration, it was between Elon Musk and like Stephen Miller and the likes about high-skilled visas versus low-skilled visas, whether or not we should be selective. And Elon Musk found himself on the outside of the administration arguing for, we need plenty of immigration with people who have high skills. For Harvard, 44% of US unicorn founders, these are like the big companies that make a big change, they're coming from India. And then after that, the next runner-up is Israel. These are countries of which bring us incredible talent, incredible companies that do all these amazing things. And some of those companies include Stripe, their Cloudflare, Falcon X, and all of these founders for those companies that I just named, they came from Harvard. So to me, this is politics. This is extracting changes on cultural issues on campus. But I do think that Harvard is going to have to find a way to comply with Title VI in a more meaningful way and show that they are not creating a hostile climate on campus for their Jewish and Israeli students, which they objectively have. And if they can do that, they provide these documents, these videos, whatever, then I think the pressure will be off. But my worry is that the Trump administration and people in it like Stephen Miller, they are actually ideologically opposed to high skill immigration of any kind. And they do want to cut it all off. And they don't want foreign students at Harvard. And that's not going to be a good outcome.
So I have to take issue with the idea that it is objectively proven that Harvard has created a hostile environment for Jewish students. They have argued forcibly against that. The president of Harvard, who is incidentally himself Jewish, Mr. Gerber, has pushed forward pushed back, I should say, very strongly against that contention.
What does it mean when Harvard's Divinity School says that Jewish students should, quote, embrace de-Zionism, and they promote in their education department a period of white supremacy, a pyramid of white supremacy, which links things like two sides of every story and funding schools locally and colorblindness to racial hierarchies and white supremacy? Do you think that creates a good outcome for Jewish students on campus in any way?
No, I don't think that those things particularly do. Now, I am not going to also argue in every single instance that everything that a Harvard professor says is the right thing. What I'm saying is that Harvard as an institution, led by a Jewish president, pushes back very strongly at the idea that they have created a hostile environment for Jewish students. Now, on the bigger point about how the Trump administration is dealing with this issue, it is, of course, part of a whole range of actions taken against several universities, some of which have, to my mind, caved. I'm sure you see it probably in a different light, but Columbia being the obvious example, and Harvard is going to continue to fight this, and we'll see how that all goes.
We'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. On a lighter note, literally as well as metaphorically, coming up, did Trump's signature orange glow make its way into the Republican tax bill? We'll discuss.